Well, hello, you guys. Welcome to this fun Tower Garden party. My name is Jan Loida, and I'm here with Julie Powers and Don Fuemmeler, and they're going to be introducing themselves in just a little bit. So basically, I just want to tell a little bit about my entry into the Tower Garden. First of all, I am a gardener, an outside gardener, and it's a lot of work. It's a total lot of work, a lot of weeding, but a lot of fixing up the soil to make it just right. There's a lot of components that I've learned over the last year that make it a better garden or not. But anyway, one thing that I could not do is I could not keep my greens and my herbs growing through the hot summer months. And so Julie introduced me to the Tower Garden. I had heard about it, but she started to show it on Instagram, and I got real caught by her excitement. And I still want to thank you for bringing me on board, because I love my Tower Garden. You can see it in the back a little bit. My Tower Garden's been growing since May, starting with little seedlings mid-May, and it's continuing to grow. I've actually replaced a few of my plants. I will let everybody tell their story, but I just kind of like having something growing all the time. So I'm not sure I'm going to dismantle the whole thing and restart it. But basically, we're here tonight to just talk about the joy and the ease of growing inside. And before we get started, to tell you more details about this very cool vertical aeroponic garden, Julie is going to show a quick video so that you can actually see really a lot more about it.
I forget that I have to unmute myself in order for this to work properly. So, okay, here we go. State-of-the-art aeroponic vertical garden system uses both water and air to produce more colorful, better tasting, and incredibly nutritious fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Tower Garden has a 20-gallon reservoir at its base that stores the Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Developed by experts in plant and human nutrition, Tower Tonic Mineral Blend enables superior plant growth and better nutrition from your Tower Garden produce. The process begins once the seedlings have been placed in your Tower Garden. Here they will be nourished with Tower Tonic nutrient solution. Inside the reservoir is a small, low-wattage submersible pump. The pump pushes the nutrient solution up through the tower to the top. From there, the nutrient solution drips through the central tower using a special device that evenly cascades the solution over the exposed plant roots. On the journey down the tower, the nutrient solution feeds the roots and becomes highly oxygenated as it cascades gently down the reservoir. This process is continuous, providing fresh oxygen, water, and nutrients to the roots of the plants. This patented aeroponic process enables food crops to grow faster than they would in soil, so they can be harvested more often. And it makes Tower Garden the healthier, easier, smarter way to grow your produce. It's always just such happy music that it makes me smile. So we have one more quick video, and this is about the new Tower Garden Home, which is a smaller version of the Tower Garden. We already watched that.
All right, I'm going to stop share and let Jan continue.
Okay, let's talk about why this is such a special garden. First of all, it is dirt-free, as you can see. And there's never any pesticide use, never any herbicide use. We don't have to worry about if there's enough rain. I tell you, we've been kind of in a drought the last 2 weeks, and I spent a good deal of my time watering my garden outside just earlier this week. And I actually, I never do this, but I actually washed my car so that it could have the water left over from my car just to get more water on my garden. You know, there's a lot of concern about what's happening in the Western states with the drought. We've got problems in California, which is a main grower of our produce. That is going to trickle down to affect all of us with prices, and also just enough produce to meet the needs of all of us. So I think it's something to look at pretty seriously, that, you know, we do have a drought problem in the US, and that we need to start taking more responsibility for growing our own food. And it's nice to know how it's grown. I live with a farmer, and I am working with a farmer right now, and I am tracking everything that they do in the fields, the chemicals they use, the fertilizer they use, and all the things that have to happen in order to grow enough food for the population of the world. Now, we're not going to get into the pros and cons and all the stuff that's out there, but I do know that I will not let Russ come into my garden outside my home with any kind of chemicals. I would prefer not having chemicals on my vegetables. So I have a little control over that with my tower garden. Sometimes he sneaks out there and tries to get taking care of my weeds, but we're working on that. So it's drought free, and it's also flood free. And if you know anything about Missouri, Mississippi River Valley, we struggle with the flood issues a lot around here. And I had to scramble and help them move all kinds of grain. So anyway, we don't have that problem with the tower garden either. And it is waste free. What that means is, you know, how often we go to the store and we actually buy a nice big bag of spinach or lettuce, and, you know, we start carving away and eating it, and then we forget about it, or it gets buried by something else in our produce bin, and we end up finding that it has kind of gone bad and we have to throw it away. So what I love about the garden is that I pick it fresh when I want to make a salad. I add it to my eggs. I saute the greens and I put it in my scrambled eggs. And I'm finding more and more ways that I can pick straight. I've got a huge basil plant on the backside of my tower garden that I will eventually harvest that and make pesto and freeze it. So it's just growing crazy. I'm having so much fun with it. Anyway, the other thing that is concerned is, like, you know, we have had problems with recalls on our produce with E. coli and other bacteria outbreaks. We've seen that. We've had to track that. I just am never, ever concerned about becoming ill of anything that I pick from my tower garden. I have primarily used my tower garden home to grow greens and herbs, okay, and a variety of different greens. If you use the tower garden flex, it's a much larger unit. We'll talk about that in a few minutes here. You can actually grow tomatoes. You can grow a lot more of the outside plants if you want. I always say I can grow anything that doesn't require bees to pollinate inside. Anything that needs the pollination, I could still put in a tower garden and put it outside and bring those insects in. But then again, we're dealing with insects and the things that come with it. So anyway, I do love that I can pick my tower garden greens, and I never hardly even have to rinse them. They are so clean. So from here, I'm going to move it on to Julie and Dawn and let them talk about their experience.
I just got one little section here to talk about. My name's Julie Powers, and thanks, Jan, for all that information. I'm just going to kind of go over a little bit of the difference between the Tower Garden Flex model and the Tower Garden Home model. And so the one you can see in the background here, I'm going to tilt it down, you can see the base in there. That is the Flex model. And mine is 8.5 years old. I've been growing on it for 8.5 years. And I have grown outdoors in the spring and summer. I've grown indoors in the fall and winter. And what I have found is that I prefer to grow indoors year round. I do not like dirt. I do not like bugs. I do not like humidity. I don't like to mess with stuff outside like that. So I just love having this literally 6 feet from my office. I mean, in my office from my desk. And so the Flex model is really for outdoor growing, but of course it can come inside. The Home model is really for indoor growing. It can grow outside, but it doesn't have as big a base. And so you don't have that weight to hold it down for the wind that we might have, the storms that we might have. And depending on where you live in the country, when you're watching this, there are all kinds of different weather issues to consider if you're going to be growing outside. So both models have the LED grow lights. I don't have mine on right now because I didn't want you to have that super glow because my seedlings are so tiny. I literally just planted them last week. And what I did was I took the whole thing apart. I do that twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall, give it a really good clean. And I like to start everything all at the same size. Jan likes to have hers kind of growing all the time at different stages. I like it all to be very uniform. I'm a little freaky about that. But the Home model actually has 16 regular plant pot ports and 16 microgreen ports, but you can actually grow a number of things in the microgreen section that don't have to be microgreens. In the Home model, it's a little bit smaller footprint and it has a little monitor on it so that you know what the water level is at all times. For the Flex model, you have to go the extra step. You actually have to open the little door and look inside. It's a lot of work. I'm teasing. The Home model has 13 gallons of water with nutrients, and the Flex model has 20 gallons of water and nutrients. And like I said, the Home model has a smaller footprint. It's 4 square feet. The Flex model that I have is 5 square feet. Still very, very small amount of space, because it's vertical, right? And you can grow, like mine has 20 ports, but there's actually an extension kit that can grow 28 plants in the same footprint. So whenever I grew outside, I was able to do the tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and all those things. And you can grow watermelon, squash, zucchini, eggplants, all kinds of stuff. But I don't want to mess with that. I don't like all that big bushy stuff. I can get that stuff from the farmer's market, or I can get that from my friends' gardens in the summertime, but I just like to have all this freshness right here. So I am now going to let Dawn take over. Dawn Fuemmeler, take it away and feel free to fill in any gaps that I have left open.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do the show and tell part of this whole presentation. So I'm going to flip my camera around and show you my tower. It has been in various places in my home, and I have found that I really like my laundry room the best. It is sort of out of the way, but not so out of the way that I don't think to look at it every day. And it's nice and warm and sunny. Not that it needs sun at all or warmth, but I think it tends to do a little bit better in the winter because this is one of the warmer places in my house. So I have various greens growing. You can see, look at some of the size of that. I don't know if you can see that, the size of those basil leaves. I was thinking before I got on, I wonder how much money, if I had to go buy what is growing here, how much money that would be. And, the basil, at least in my store, you get a little tiny stalk and it's like $3 or $4 for a little tiny stalk of basil. So I figure I have about $40 of basil right there if you go by that. So I I figure I have about $60 of produce right there easily. If you had to go to the bookstore and buy it anyway. I've got some cilantro here. I have got down here, I'll move my minerals. I've got a green onion. Now they tell you that you can't grow root crops in the tower garden, but you can grow green onions because they don't get so big. But I'm going to show you what you have to do to take care of a tower garden. So hopefully I'm not making you dizzy with my camera, but you just take off the little lid, water's in there, the pump's in there, and the pump is just a small little pump like you would get in a very small fish aquarium. And the only thing you have to do to take care of this is to occasionally check the pH of the water and add minerals occasionally. Now, because all of ours are indoors, you aren't getting a lot of evaporation of water. You're not losing a lot of water. You really don't have to add many nutrients at all, just because it keeps recycling. But occasionally, especially in our area, and I'm just going to scoop up a little water here, you do find that our water is a little acidic in this area. And I don't know if it's because of the minerals that we have naturally in our area. But what you do is it comes with all of the stuff in a kit when you get the tower garden. You put 5 milliliters of water in there, and then you take these little drops that come with it. See if I can take the lid off with one hand. And you just put 5 drops in there. Now, I'm actually shocked because that's really not too bad. You want it sort of the color of green grass, not too dark of a green. Typically, that's actually pretty good. It could go a little bit lower, but I'm not picky about that. If I needed to adjust it, it comes with a plus or a minus, depending on what you need to do. The drops, somebody asked, the drops come with the kit, and they're just pH drops that you use in any pH testing kind of thing. I don't think they're any different from stuff you use anything else, like a pool or anything else you test water. But for growing plants, you want it at about a 6 is a good pH. And so that's pretty good. It comes even, I don't have the little paper that comes with the kit, and it shows you, and you can compare the colors. If it's too basic, then it'll be sort of a yellowish orange. And if it's too acidic, it'll almost sometimes get to like a blue color. It's so dark. And then occasionally, like I said, it comes with 2 containers, an A, and then you see the B over here, of mineral blends. Now, I want to make it very clear. This is not something like, a Miracle-Gro. It is earth minerals that they've extracted from the earth and put into a liquid form. So this is all, I can't say the word organic because actually, if you understand, the actual terminology of organic means that it's grown in dirt. This is not grown in dirt. But as far as our minds know, we always think of organic as nothing is sprayed on it or no chemicals. So this is not a chemical kind of fertilizer. Where is that produced? It is produced by Tower Garden. There are other, I know some people use some mineral blends that are made for other aeroponic or hydroponic systems. And I don't know what kind of success they've had, but I always recommend it is not toxic. I mean, obviously you don't want to drink it, but that doesn't mean, it's not You know, I don't think it carries a poison control thing on it or anything like that. But I always say use what comes with the system because it was invented for this and it works really well. So I'm going to put this lid back on it. But what I'm going to do, oh, let me show you. So they grow in these things called, let me get over by the light, rock wool. It is real squishy, like a sponge. And you just drop your seeds in there and get this wet, and it holds moisture really well. This is a spun kind of volcanic rock. So it is also natural. There's nothing unnatural in that either. And these little clips, which I'm going to show you in a minute when I unclip this. So this just sits right on this little, the rock wool just sits right on this little pokey thing, and you clip it right in the hole. So I'm going to take out one of our plants here. This is a romaine lettuce I've got. It's not very old, so the roots aren't going to be huge, but you can see the little clip on it right there. And you can move these around. I have a little tiny plant amongst these bigger plants right here. And so sometimes, you know, if I notice that a plant around it is getting in the way of its light and it's not going to grow, I might move them around a little bit. So I can just pop that right back in. And let me show you a more mature plant. Here's a kale that I have. And kale have pretty extensive, longer kind of roots. But while I have that one pulled out, let me turn my pump on. It's currently off, but let me turn it on and get the water going. It takes just a second to start dripping through there. But you can probably hear it and you can see the water going down through there. So the pump pumps it up through this cylinder and then it just drips down onto the roots. And by the way, this is food grade plastic and it is coated with a UV protection so that if you do use it outside, it will last. Mine is about 8.5 years old. And I mean, you buy this, it's built to last. It's going to last. The only thing that I've ever had to replace is occasionally you have to replace the pump, and those are about 20 bucks. So I'm gonna turn the camera back around. Oh, you can see my lovely utility room there. And see what I've missed. Oh, let me unplug that first. You don't want to hear that. It's not, if you're around it, it is not annoying. It's actually very soothing sound. In fact, they say a lot of times in the classrooms when they're used, kids really find it, especially maybe kids on the spectrum and things, or kids that have some attention span things and get a little hyper, it's very calming to them. They like the sound of that sort of trickling like a fountain you might have. You can grow just a lot of places. I've grown in my basement. I've grown in my garage. I've grown on my porch. I've grown outside. I also have a dirt garden. And, you know, a lot of people even take these, they build a little platform and carry them on their RVs or inside their trailer when they go camping. Obviously, classrooms have them. The O'Hare Airport in Chicago, they have a Tower Garden farm that supplies all their fresh produce for their mini restaurants. And if you've ever seen a baseball game with the San Francisco Giants, they have a bar area in their outfield and they have Tower Gardens featured in that. And in a lot of the cities, they grow Tower Garden farms on the rooftops because that's where they have room. So what do I like, you know, about the Tower Garden? For me, like one of the things is no weeding, not bending over. I mean, I'm not old, but I do not enjoy bending over and it's backbreaking work to garden. I enjoy having it at my fingertips when I want to use it and not until then, and that it's so fresh and I know where it comes from. No bugs, that I can grow year round. There's just a lot. Tim Blank, he is the person who invented this whole Terra Garden system. And he was the head of growing at Epcot Center at the time. And if you've ever been to Epcot Center in Disney World, they have a ton of really innovative gardening type things that they feature there. And he looked at all this and he thought, I really want to invent something where people can bring something home and do it on their own. And it's very easy. And he came up with the Terra Garden, and the Juice Plus company, locked arms with him and brought him on board. And because it fits so well with our whole motto of inspiring healthy living and trying to get more plants into people. Research has been done by the University of Mississippi on the Terra Garden, and they found that the Terra Garden uses 98% less water than traditionally grown gardens and 90% less space than a traditional garden, yet it yields 30% more, and it's much more nutrient dense. And even NASA has done some research on aeroponic gardening, because that's something they can take into space on the space station and actually grow fresh produce. And they found in their research that it takes about half the time to grow something than traditional gardening. So a few of the advantages we've already mentioned, less work, more nutrient dense produce than what you can buy. And why is that? Not everybody's soil is perfect. Even if it was absolutely perfect, which is hard to get, this is perfect all the time for the most part, as long as you're keeping water in it and you've got the right amount of nutrients in it, it's always getting what it needs. Fewer diseases, pests. Yes, you can get a few things inside, but it hasn't happened very often. Thankfully. No weeds, no dirt. It pays for itself in 1 to 2 years, depending on what you grow in it and how much you normally buy at the grocery store. I want to say, follow up on something Jan said. She said you can't grow something in it that needs the bees to fertilize it. You can do it indoors, but you need to be the bee, and you need to go from flower to flower and with a Q-tip, or some people I think use a vibrating toothbrush and sort of spread the pollen. And it will grow despite whatever kind of weather's outside, temperature, rainfall, heat, no matter what. You always know where your produce is coming from. And I'm going to turn it back over to Julie, and she's going to finish it up for us. Hopefully I didn't forget anything on that show and tell.
No, I think you covered a lot of really good stuff. I just jotted down a few notes of some things that I know have come up before. One, I know that Dawn, you talked about the fact that this is food grade plastic, which is really important because there are a lot of newer hydroponic, aeroponic, all kinds of growing systems that people are getting now, because everybody's catching on that we need to grow our own food at home, right? For food safety, food security, and just the fact that it's a smart thing to do. But a lot of that plastic that's being used is recycled plastic, and it is not food grade. And so the chemicals and the contaminants from that plastic can actually leach into the roots of the plants and then end up in your produce. So you have to be very, very careful. And that is one thing that the Juice Plus company takes very seriously, is the purity of everything that we produce, and not just the capsules and the chewables and the drink mix and all of that, but the plastic has to be food grade and very, very safe. So that's one thing. Dawn said that there can be some bugs. And I know that was a question in the chat. I saw a question pop up a while ago about that you heard that the Terra Garden can attract bugs. Well, I'll tell you, I grew outside for several seasons. And yeah, there were caterpillars and there were bees and wasps and spiders and all the stuff that's outside because it's a garden, right? That's one of the reasons I brought it inside. I have had aphids. In the last 8.5 years, I've had aphids twice. And so that's kind of a pain in the neck. But one time it wasn't that big of a deal. The other time I just ended up going, I don't want to mess with this because I'm not a bug person. I'm not a gardener. It's amazing to me that I can grow my own food. So really, I just took it apart, took all the plants out, dunked them in water to get any little aphid eggs off. And then I just put it back together and put them back in. And it was great. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. Somebody asked me about the time involved. They said, I hear that this is not as easy as it looks. And what I'm going to tell you is my experience with the tower garden, because I am not a gardener. I don't like to mess with this stuff. So twice a year, I mentioned I take the whole thing apart. We use the basin, like that basin right there. All of the pieces will fit down in there except the flat part of the basin. And we just put a little bit of citric acid, which is a food grade citric acid that's used in canning and other things for food, and it cleans it. You just let it soak. So it literally takes about 10 minutes to take it apart, harvest all the food out of it, let it soak, and you just let it sit there for an hour or two. And then you might spend 10 or 15 minutes scrubbing it off and cleaning it and rinsing all the citric acid off. And then a few more minutes putting it back together and filling it up and putting the nutrients in. So all up, all in, twice a year, I might spend an hour of actual time cleaning my tower garden. And I believe that that is true for any tower gardener that has one unit. Now, if you have more than that, add a few more minutes onto that, right? As an ongoing process, I would say it takes me about 5 to 10 minutes a week to deal with my tower garden. That's making sure there's enough water in there, filling up the water, checking the pH maybe once every 2 weeks, and just harvesting and clipping anything out, just checking the leaves, making sure everything looks good, talking to my plants and telling them how beautiful they are and how delicious they are going to be when I eat them. And, just sending it some love and hugging on it. So those are the things I think I covered, but I'm going to check the chat here because somebody was asking some good questions. Oh, is mildew an issue? I've not had mildew before, but I will tell you that there is some algae that can grow. And that's just a normal thing whenever you're growing stuff. There can be some algae, but you just wipe it off. Let's see. Did you say you leave it in your garage in the winter? Let me tell you, I grew in my garage for 2 winters, and I don't have an insulated garage, and the plants loved it. But we used 4x8 styrofoam sheets to create a little walled room around it. We called it a tower garden cube. And we had a little propane heater that we kept in that cube. And the lettuce and the kale loved being in my garage. When it was 0 degrees outside, I had fresh food growing. Is it toxic? Oh, the nutrients or the pH. I'm not sure what you were asking about, but no, it's not toxic. The pH tester is not something you put into the water in the basin. You're just testing it in the little thing. And that's just basic pH test kit for a swimming pool or hot tub or whatever. But the mineral blend is actual minerals that's, like Dawn said, pulled out of the earth and some out of the ocean, because you're trying to get the best minerals that will feed the plants. Just like soil has to have a combination of minerals, you have to have that to feed the plants. And so that's what it is. Strong smell. I haven't really had a strong smell other than depending on what you're growing. And Dawn and Dan, if you want to touch base on that, I mean, if you're growing basil, it smells like basil.
It's lovely. It's a lovely, I've never had a smell, no, except for herbs that you're growing, but.
Yeah. And then I see I've been told, okay, no back pain would be nice. You're right. So you don't have to spray, right? Okay. So if you're growing outside and you have caterpillars, tomato worms, whatever that grow on, that are attracted to your plants, then you might need to spray sometimes like a neem oil, or sometimes people will make a combination of like Dawn detergent and neem oil. There are some other things that are very, really safe to use that are not chemicals, but will kill any of those pests. I have only sprayed my tower garden one time with that type of combination of things. And that was when I first had the aphids. And I didn't know what I was doing because I'm not a gardener. And so I was trying all different kinds of things to try to figure out what to do with the aphids. And that's when I just was like, I'm starting over, and just took all the plants out. And that was fine. So what's the price of a tower garden, including everything you need, like the lights and the drops, etc.? Okay, so there are actually two different things, the home and the flex, and they are different prices because, they're different kits. And everything that you get comes for one growing season. So you get enough of the nutrients and the pH test kit, and you get the net pots, which are these little black pots that go down inside the holes. But the clips, like if you want the clips that Dawn showed us, those are separate things. So not everybody needs a dolly. Not everybody needs a tomato cage. Not everybody, so it depends on where you live and if you're going to grow outside only or inside only. So I would just say that whoever invited you to this call, get with that person and they can share the order form with you and go through the different things to just make sure that they're quoting you the right price for what you need in your home. Please understand that right now, with all the freaky supply chain issues, there can be a delay in getting some of the things. And so it's important that if you want a tower garden and you want to be able to grow this fall and winter, you should probably order it sooner versus later, because it might be a few weeks before you actually get your product. And we want you to be able to start growing as soon as possible. And one other good thing to know about ordering a tower garden is that you can pay for it all at once, up front, big lump sum, which will be something that you pay for itself in 2 to 3 years, as Dawn said. Or you can actually pay for it over 12 months. They will just separate out all those monthly installments, and there's no additional fee for doing that. And so that's a pretty good option for budgeting. And it's really great. So tower gardens allow us to eat fresh year round, which is amazing. And it tastes so much better than the stuff you get from the grocery store. I promise you, you have never tasted anything so fresh. And I know that, Jan has mentioned that you don't even have to rinse it. Like I could literally, when that grows just a little bit more, and probably next weekend, I will be able to harvest some of the lettuce. I can just go up and just eat it right off of the tower garden. And I don't have to worry about dirt. I don't have to worry about bugs. I don't have to worry about just junk from the air. It's pretty great. The Juice Plus company is really proud to have the tower garden available for so many different families, schools, businesses around the world now. We are actually able to ship the tower garden to several different countries. And we used to only have it here in the United States and Canada. And so other of our markets are opening. We are actually in 26 countries in the world for our Juice Plus products, but the tower garden is now opening up in different areas. So I would love to share just one short video with everybody, just so you understand who we are, what we do, and not just the tower garden. So let me just play that real quick.
When it comes to our health, diet is at the center of everything. And fruits and vegetables need to be at the center of our diets. I'm here today to tell you more about Juice Plus, whole food-based fruit and vegetable capsules that have given thousands of people a jump start to better diets and better health. We all know we need to eat lots of fruits and vegetables, half our plate at every meal, and we need to eat a wide variety too. But for most of us, even on our very best days, it's hard to do that. And that's where Juice Plus comes in. Juice Plus is whole food nutrition from 20 fruits and vegetables, 30 if you count the berry blend, that bridges the gap between what we should eat and what we actually do eat every day. I say whole food because it is food, concentrated to deliver a powerful nutritional punch in a few small capsules. We harvest the produce at just the right time to ensure the nutrition is at its peak. Freeze the produce to lock in that nutrition and then, well, sort of pulverize everything, peels and all, into a pulp to unlock that nutrition and concentrate it. The peel is really important because let's take an orange, for example. There's more vitamin C gram for gram in the peel than in the fruit itself. And if you're like me, you don't usually eat the peel. We dry that pulverized pulp, peels and all, at carefully controlled temperatures to protect the nutrients from damage. Then blend it into Juice Plus fruit, vegetable, and berry powders, delivered to you in plant-based capsules or chewables. And we do all of this at state-of-the-art freezing, drying, blending, and manufacturing facilities. Juice Plus checks all the boxes. It's 100% plant-based and 100% vegan, even the capsules themselves. It's made entirely from non-GMO ingredients, it's gluten-free, and it's third-party NSF certified, independently confirming that what's on the label is really in the product. Juice Plus is supported by over 20 years of independent clinical research, conducted at prestigious hospitals and universities around the world, showing the benefits of Juice Plus on heart health, lung health, obesity, the immune system, even our DNA. There have been more than 35 studies and counting on Juice Plus, published in leading medical and scientific journals, making it easily the most researched branded nutritional product ever. And get this, if you're a parent or a grandparent or even an aunt or uncle, you can get Juice Plus free for a child by enrolling in our special program for families. This is our way to get Juice Plus into the hands of more families and encourage healthier eating habits for the next generation. Juice Plus also offers other whole food-based products that help you jumpstart and maintain a healthier lifestyle. Juice Plus complete shake mixes make it easy to replace unhealthy calories with the healthy shake or a smoothie. Mix with other helpful ingredients to start your day, or enjoy at lunch, or as an afternoon pick-me-up. Complete is rich in plant-based sources of protein and fiber and contains an entire range of whole food-based ingredients, different from those in Juice Plus capsules or chewables. And Juice Plus complete bars are another tasty way to replace unhealthy calories with healthier ones. Juice Plus Omega Blend offers a unique whole food blend of 5 different omega fatty acids, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. What also makes Juice Plus Omega Blend so unique is it's a 100% plant-based omega product. We bypass the middle fish and go straight to the fish's source, the algae. And last but not least, there's Tower Garden by Juice Plus, a vertical aeroponic home growing system that lets you grow your own fresh fruits and vegetables year round, indoors or out. We're proud that our Juice Plus products have been that one simple change that's helped jumpstart thousands of people to better diets and better health. We bet they can do the same for you.
All right, so I am just going to ask Jan and Dawn if they have any final words before I stop the recording. And Jan?
So I will say one thing, Julie, is, you asked about the time, and I've been keeping a record of how often do I add water to my Tower Garden home. And so pretty much I'm doing it about every 14 or 15 days. And there's this cool little bulb that sits on the inside that shows the water level. So if I'm traveling and I know that I want to have plenty of water in my tower until I get back, I just kind of estimate how much is left. And it's very simple. You calculate how many gallons you think you put in, and then you put the mineral A and B in, and it's not an issue at all. It's just easy to make sure that it just keeps going. I love the fact that the lights are automatic. The pump is automatic. You put it on a backup system where you have a breaker protection. And, you know, it's pretty simple. I have traveled a lot this year with my new grandbabies, and I've always been able to keep the tower going. So just wanted to put that in.
Yeah, no, that's really important, because like if you left and it was going to be like not raining and 105 degrees outside for 2 weeks, then you would have to have somebody come over and water your garden outside.
I had to get a babysitter for my outside garden,
right,
but not my inside garden.
Right. That's a big deal. Dawn, do you have any final words before I turn off the recording?
Well, because I have the bigger tank on mine, unless my plants get really, really big, I probably only add water like maybe every 6 weeks or a month. I don't know. You know, it just doesn't need it very often. So you literally plug it in once you get the hang of it and know how it works, and sort of forget about it. I mean, you really do. That's what I feel like, until you go back and you pick and you just smile and you eat.
Pick and smile and eat. That's what we do. All right. I am going to just close this out just as a reminder. Whoever happens to be watching this, if you could just check with the person who invited you to get more information, and let them tell you all about how you can grow from your home, indoors or outdoors, year round.